Hey everybody, you're listening to the Ask BP podcast, and today we're talking about whether it's better to buy a fixer-upper or a property in great condition for a first-time investor. Stay tuned.
You're listening to another BiggerPockets Ask BP podcast, where you'll hear short, direct answers to your biggest real estate questions. Submit your question today on Facebook, Twitter, or the BiggerPockets forums by using hashtag AskBP. And don't forget to pick up your copy of the Ultimate Beginner's Guide to Real Estate Investing and other great content when you sign up for your free account at BiggerPockets.com. With that, let's get to the show.
Today's question comes from Caroline from Lakewood, Colorado, and her question is, in general, is it a better investment to purchase a property that's already in great shape or to purchase a property in poor condition and contract or remodel? Caroline, this is a fantastic question, and like many things in real estate investing, it will depend on your personality, the amount of work you're willing to put into the property, and your investing background. Because you're asking this question from the perspective of a new investor, I'm going to kind of delve into the pros and cons of investing in a fixer-upper property for a new investor, and how to kind of mitigate some of those risks if you do decide to invest in that type of property. So let's talk about some of those advantages and disadvantages of buying a fixer-upper, and the types of investors who might be well served from buying a property that needs a lot of work. One of the most obvious advantages to buying a property in poor condition is that you can purchase the property at a big discount. The market places a premium on good-looking, well-conditioned houses, and if you purchase a property at a discount, you can put in work or hire a contractor to kind of increase the profit potential of that property. The obvious disadvantage to purchasing a property that needs a lot of work is that work, money, or time will need to go into managing the rehab process there. You're going to either have to do the work yourself or hire a contractor. Either way, you risk time and money and things going wrong in that process when you purchase a property that needs a lot of work done to it. Where many newer investors tend to go wrong is in managing their expectations about how much work, time, and money will go into working on a property that needs a lot of rehab. In many cases, investors will underestimate the amount of time and resources that go into turning a property in bad condition into a beautiful place to live and one that can produce a significant amount of income. Expectations are critically important to any real estate investment, and if you do not manage your expectations, you could either not have enough money, lose money, or worse, in my opinion, lose interest in real estate investing in general because things went worse than planned. The only way that you can have more accurate expectations about real estate investing is to increase your knowledge and gain experience in the realm of real estate investing to kind of know how much time, money, and resources go into this type of rehab work. So, when it comes down to it, I believe that investing in real estate and in properties that need a lot of work comes down to a mindset. You need to have the mindset that you're willing to learn quite a bit about rehab costs and how to estimate them accurately. You need to have the mindset that you're willing to do some work yourself and get your hands dirty. And you're going to need to have a mindset where you're willing to save and spend money on big projects and that you're willing to plan for them. And finally, you're going to have the mindset that you're going to be needing to hire contractors and manage them as well. Each of these things can be seen either as work or as an opportunity. And how you approach the situation, either in the mindset of it's a lot of work that's going to be a challenge or an opportunity that's going to be exciting, can really set the tone of an investment, especially if it's one that needs quite a bit of work or quite a bit of rehab. So here are some of the things you're going to have to get your mindset right for. First, you're going to have to get your mindset right about estimating rehab costs. Estimating rehab costs accurately means that you're going to have to educate yourself on the topic of rehab. You're going to have to learn what types of projects cost a lot of money, what types of projects are really hard for you to do yourself versus hire out, and what types of projects will actually make a difference in the value of the property or the income that the property will produce. And in learning about these types of rehab costs, it requires an enormous amount of upfront effort. Are you willing to spend hours and hours on your way to work every day for 6 months, listening to the BiggerPockets podcast and learning about rehab mistakes? Are you willing to read the book on estimating rehab costs in your afternoons and free time? I love that. I gobble that up, and a lot of other investors do as well. If you're not enthusiastic about learning about those types of things, you're really going to struggle when it comes to estimating these costs accurately when you are buying your first property, especially if it's one that needs a lot of work. So keep that in mind when you're deciding whether to do this. If you're willing and eager to learn about all these things, you're going to be at a huge advantage as an investor. But if you see it as a chore, or if you see it as a burden to learn about these types of things, you're really going to struggle. Next, if you're a first-time investor, you're at least going to need to do a modest amount of work on any property you acquire. If it's a fixer-upper, you're going to need to do substantially more. In my case, I bought a duplex that needed a substantial amount of cosmetic work and a few big repairs. Here's an example of a Saturday I spent a few weeks ago. I got up, watched YouTube and This Old House, learned how to fix a P-trap and how to fix a piece of drywall that needed repair. I then went to Home Depot, bought the materials and tools I thought I needed, came back, started the project, got about halfway through, and then realized, oh, I need to go back to Home Depot and pick up a few more tools. Anybody who's done work on a property, I'm sure you can relate to that type of situation, the back and forth between Home Depot. But at the end of the day, I finished the project. It took me about 6 or 7 hours, and I was thrilled. I felt like a badass. This is a type of thing that kind of makes me excited, and a lot of other investors feel that way too. If that's you, then buying a fixer-upper is not only a great investment, but a great way to spend some time. If that sounds like a hellish experience, getting dirty underneath the bathroom sink, you're not going to have a great time fixing up that kind of, property that needs a lot of work. And you're at a big disadvantage to the investors that do enjoy those types of things. I expected to do that kind of work when I got the property, and I looked forward to the education that that's going to provide. I'm going to know how to do that stuff for the rest of my life, and that's going to be an advantage that I'll have for me and my family down the line. And that expectation going into the property has really helped me and encouraged me when I wanted to make the decision to buy a property that needed a lot of work. The third set of expectations has to do with money. Are you willing to bake in the costs of things like tools, minor improvements that you're going to make yourself, and large expenses that you're going to contract out into your total investment model? Are you willing to set aside large chunks of cash for that new lawnmower, for the equipment you're going to need for the drywall repair, for the staining of the cabinets, for whatever work needs to happen on your property? Are you willing to set aside that money and not touch it? A lot of people seem to have trouble with leaving large chunks of money in the bank account for that new expense. For example, my property, I know I'm going to have to replace the roof in a few years. I've got that money set aside. I'm not going to touch it. That is for a CapEx expenditure on my property. Are you willing to bake that into the property? Because if you're not, that expense is going to hit you really hard. For me, I'm ready for that. I know it's going to happen, and I'm happy to spend it when the time comes. The fourth set of expectations has to do with contractors, and Caroline mentioned this specifically in her question when she said she wants to contract out a remodel. Contractors, as many experienced investors will note, come in a large variety of types. Some are very seasoned and very skilled, some are very expensive, and some don't have the best reputation about completing projects. So vetting contractors is a skill in and of itself, just like doing basic plumbing or doing basic drywall repair. You're going to have to go out and learn how to find great contractors. Then you're going to have to go out and learn how to manage them throughout the process. And you have to verify what they're doing. Maybe the contractor completes the job, but maybe it's not done to the quality that you'd expect them to do it to. These types of problems are a skill that you need to manage. And once again, it's all about the mindset. Do you see the opportunity to manage contractors as just that, as an opportunity to learn a skill that will allow you to scale your real estate business down the line? Or do you see that as a big pain where you're going to have to kind of babysit a contractor through exactly what you want and how you want them to do it? Changing your mindset and depending on how you view that situation, that will make all the difference in whether purchasing a property that needs substantial amounts of work is a good idea for you or not. So at the end of the day, it all comes down to how you see the situation as a whole. Do you see a fixer-upper property as just a chance for increased profit? Or do you see it as an opportunity to learn how to more efficiently run a business and to learn new skills? If you're a first-time investor and you're just looking at the bottom line on an income property and are hoping to do those repairs as quickly and as passively as possible, I think you may be very frustrated with your experience purchasing a big fixer-upper. But if you're an investor that's looking to you're in this for the long term, you want to get great return, and you want to learn skills that will be adaptable to dozens or hundreds of units, I think that buying a fixer-upper property as a first investment is a great strategy. But remember, you're going to be competing with other folks that think the same way as you. So you really got to be committed to learning those types of skills and to doing that kind of work yourself. If you're not, at some point you're going to have that bad day, that bad expense you didn't account for, or that big project that takes all Saturday, and you're going to be very upset. This can either cause a big financial gain, or it can make you lose interest in real estate investing, which again I think is even worse. So to summarize what I talked about here today, purchasing a property can be an incredible investment for new investors. However, it comes with the significant risk of taking up larger chunks of your time and your money than you might expect. To mitigate those risks, you need to manage your expectations. You need to expect every problem that comes up to be an opportunity for you to learn a new business skill. You need to expect to have to set aside even more money than the contractor or your inspector tells you to set aside. And you're going to have to expect to put in large amounts of time learning and developing new skills and reading up on all these different aspects of rehab costs and home repair. So in answer to your question, Caroline, I believe that for me, investing in a fixer-upper property was a much better investment than purchasing in a property that was all ready to go. But I do believe I enthusiastically tackled all the challenges that came with that property, and I look forward to the next ones. Will that be the same for you? The answer to that question will answer the question whether a fixer-upper or a property that's ready to go is the right investment for you. Alrighty everyone, now it's time for our success quote of the day. Today's quote comes from Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius. And he says, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth." I'm a big fan of this quote, and I believe that it relates to real estate in the sense that everything about investing in real estate boils down to your perspective and your opinion on how things should work. People make money in all aspects of real estate, from low-income mobile home parks to luxury condos in the heart of big cities. Every single one of these strategies can and does work for investors all over the world. It all boils down to what your perspective is, how you approach problems, and what you're looking for in your real estate investment. Everything is a perspective. There is no truth. All right, thanks for listening, everybody. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube, or just put a comment in the comment section if you're watching it on BiggerPockets. I hope this was valuable information for you. And remember, in pursuit of your dreams, don't just learn, but take action. For the Ask BP podcast, this is Scott Trench, signing off.
You've just heard another episode of the BiggerPockets Ask BP podcast. Submit your question today on Facebook, Twitter, or the BiggerPockets forum by using hashtag AskBP. And for more incredible real estate investing tools and education, including a free download of our book, The Ultimate Beginner's Guide to Real Estate Investing, head over to BiggerPockets.com and sign up for your free account today. We'll see you on the next show.